what we did the last time was used Chef in solo mode, and we did bunch of things like this defining a role, using that role, getting it to pick up some metadata defined inside your node definition to run a MySQL server using a construct that we had, something like a node definition that we had expanded to include a reference to a set of passwords that we wanted to include, like this, if you recall that discussion that we last time we did. So the first question I have for you is, did you succeed in this step in establishing a SQL server, MySQL server, running on some node somewhere?
So,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
did.
Okay.
it did not work for me. I don't know how. I tried. I tried, but it did not work for me.
Do you want to give that a shot, or maybe give me remote control if that is possible?
So give me a second. I just need to create. Okay, you can do that. So let me. Okay. So what I did. Okay. So let me do few things first. Let me get into DigitalOcean so that I will create a IP.
Actually, I created a new droplet called SQL, the KSPN.com.
Aha.
I just wanted to
That's a good idea.
play
Having a
with it.
separate droplet and playing out with this. Like in my example, I create a web2.cloudgenie.us. You can create a new droplet and play with that scenario and have it function as your database server,
Right.
right?
Right.
Which is totally valid.
And I installed both
So
the Nginx as a role and SQL Server as a recipe. So
Nice, very nice. And so I think our Chandra is projecting right now, is it? Or about to project?
I'm
yeah, it
projecting.
is.
You're not seeing it?
Okay, let me go and see. I'm not possible to see quite yet. Maybe it is coming up. Yes, now I see it. So yeah, I do see your terminal and your node definition and your IP address .json file.
Right. So I need to create, right? So this is I destroyed last night. Okay. So let us create a droplet.
And I'm just assuming that you have a coupon applied to your account, right? It should be free, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Now this SSH key I can add right now also, right?
Yeah, you can do that. Actually, you can save it once. If you do it, it will. You give a tag or name. It remembers for the next time.
Okay. So
So if you cat
I
your
need to get.
ID RSA pub key and add the text string into there.
Okay. So let us do that.
I think if you go down, yeah, give some name there, it will remember that.
Oh,
Actually, it will
this one.
automatically pick up the
Yeah,
user Cloud Genius name.
It should. Okay.
yeah. Next time, if you create, it will show that one and add SSH. So you can use that one or you can use a new one.
So so now
And if you select and
creating.
provide a key like this, then it will not email you a password, which is nice.
Right.
You don't need a
Right.
password.
And correct. Now, meanwhile, I'll show you what I did in Atom, okay, so that can show that we are. So I created in okay, commented the cookbooks in Nginx, and then I put MySQL, right?
Yes. So the this is the Burks file, which has now 561 MySQL cookbook reference,
Right,
and we
right.
have our gem file. I want to see this just quickly.
Oh, gem file I don't have, I believe, right? MySQL. Okay, okay,
You
okay.
don't
That
need
may be
you
the
don't
reason.
need MySQL. There is no MySQL gem there.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, like, because your references. So yeah, in your documentation, nothing was there. So I just create put this one,
This is
right?
good. This is good.
And
And let us see,
okay,
your site cookbooks folder should be empty. Your role folder should also be empty.
and this was the IP that time, and then this
Correct.
is what I put it, and just knife. I did knife command, and it's supposed to work. So it worked actually, but last it says SSH cannot connect, and it did lot of these things, and then suddenly disappeared. So let me do this one.
Probably there may be a network issue.
No, but it was. I mean, I could. I don't think so. Let me rename this. Okay, and that's it. So I just need to run now, I believe.
So a couple things I would like you to do is Burks file. You have to run Burks install.
Okay, so I did. Okay, so let us hear solution, right?
Yeah, first to see if the droplet is ready.
No, Droplet is ready. That's why I could even get the IP, right? This is ready.
No, it doesn't have to be. That is the problem. I tried once and it was not ready. I could not log in there. So
So one thing to good to check is actually use SSH command to connect to this IP address.
Right. Okay.
See if it
Okay. So
actually
that I
works.
can do. Yeah, it's working, right?
Now we don't know. Yeah,
It's
now it is
ready.
working. Yes, correct.
now it is working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, okay. So exit. I will should be there in CD. CD my cloud.
Now you have to cd dot dot.
That's what I thought. CD.
Cd space dot dot. In Windows,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is lenient. You can skip the space in Windows. In Linux,
yeah.
it expects a space.
Okay, so I'm here.
Now here you should say, you should actually, technically, I would delete the lock files. We have two lock files, Burks lock and gem lock. Will both of them get rid of them? And so just right click and delete unnecessary files, like delete the lock file. It's a new exercise, right? New attempt. So delete that. Gem file, delete the lock. Then
Now,
your unnecessary.
interestingly, when I started doing it, and you just need to let me know how it works. I not even initially I forgot to add create JSON file, okay, but it created on its own a JSON file with the same IP. I don't know how.
Correct. If it doesn't find a JSON in that node section, it will create one for you.
Right, but unfortunately, that nothing. This was not there. The text needs to be
Right. It
explicitly,
will
right. So
create
I
an
think
empty
that
JSON file. Correct.
right.
So
Okay,
this
right.
file
So
that you
that
have here, this other IP address
right.
is not necessary. You can delete that, or at least label it that is not being used if you want to keep it. So that doesn't cause
Okay.
confusion, right? So not being used, call it something else, not the IP address. So no, you know that not used. Understood. you can leave it alone, and you know that it's not being used. And so now
Right.
let us go check environment, data bags. They should all be empty or almost empty,
Right.
right?
Right.
Cookbooks empty.
Right.
Cookbooks empty? No. So get rid of all these cookbooks also. You can
I
delete the
can just
cookbooks folder itself. Delete the cookbooks folder, top level. Let it go. And so now you have empty data bags, empty environment, one node file that you know is the matching IP address, and the other
work
one you're
gem.
not using. You have empty roles
Right.
and empty site cookbooks. Correct? You have the
Right.
web role, you can delete that. And so now
I
you
have a
know
work
exactly
file
what you're
file.
dealing with. And you have your gem file, the first
Right.
thing to do is to bundle it.
So bundle work update, right? The
No,
work update will
bundle is for gem file, Burks is for works file.
okay. So bundle update, right?
Yeah. Bundle for gem file.
But we are not added anything but gem file, right?
Yes, you're right. But we deleted our lock file, right? So it's like new.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So we deleted our lock file. Basically, it tells you to create a new lock file.
Okay, I got it. I got it. Oh, okay.
So you will see a new lock file getting created momentarily.
Yeah. Yeah, it's 10. Okay, so now I need to work update, right? So that's what.
Yes. Burks, plural. Burks. And this will go grab the cookbooks you want and create a Burks lock.
But how
Okay, Burks
work
install.
install? Okay. So it's good. It's giving instructions, huh? Okay. So that will be work file dot log, I believe.
Yes.
Now here gem file doesn't contain the MySQL, right? How I was going to grab the MySQL?
Okay. So the concept behind a gem file is that it brings the executables that you need. Now we don't
Right.
need a MySQL executable in our workstation. We want a MySQL cookbook inside our workstation.
Okay. Okay.
So cookbook you can obtain from this thing called Burks file, a Burks shelf. Whereas gems you can obtain using bundle and gem file. So the executable we want to get, we don't really want MySQL as an executable. And there is no MySQL gem as such, because MySQL install has to be happening through Ubuntu repositories, which will happen through sudo apt-get install MySQL server. MySQL is not a Ruby product,
I
and
got
so
it.
it is
I got
not
it.
available in form of a gem. So if you want to install MySQL, you will go directly and install MySQL through apt repository in Ubuntu, for example. And that's why we don't
Okay.
have a gem listing in gem file for MySQL.
I got it.
Similarly, there is no Nginx listing for Nginx, because these are the
Right.
applications we want to install on a remote target machine. And so we will use cookbooks to deploy these applications on the remote end. And so right now you're doing a solo bootstrap, and that is what is going to kick in and pick that node file that you have, and that is what will happen at the end. At the end of it, you will have a machine running that will have MySQL server up and running with your root password that you chose in your JSON file.
I got it. Okay.
So in a minute or two, we should finish, and we should have success.
Okay. So I don't know, somehow I did all this. So only thing I did not I think, but I know I did that. this all this all was okay, and suddenly it actually says SSH could not connect. Maybe
It may be a
net issue,
transient
but
issue. When unable to connect issue is typically a transient network issue. It's about connectivity.
yesterday actually
And
I
you know what?
really come to
I
fix
noticed
that.
one thing.
Huh?
You forgot the bundle exec part, and that's why your chef version is different. We're supposed to use bundle exec as a prefix, and I think you forgot that one.
So I just took the
But let it run.
um,
We'll see how it goes. It should be okay, I suspect. But let's see. Let's see. It is slightly different version of Chef, so slightly different everything else. And so there will be some variation, and we cannot really tell unless we actually see what happens, and we'll figure
okay.
it out. Just a few more minutes. So it's without bundle exec. You understand that, right? Bundle exec gives you the discipline, and with that discipline comes a reproducible, predictable outcome.
Correct.
And so right now we are kind of sort of confident, but we are not absolutely 100% sure because our version numbers changed. So it might actually work, but let's see. And it did. Looks like it worked. And that is
Right.
good. That is good. So
So
nothing.
now I need to go
Now go
to
connect
SSH.
SSH up arrow, up arrow.
Yeah.
Just SSH up arrow. No. Hold on. Type SSH space up arrow.
Oh, okay. Now, okay. So MySQL.
Yeah, check the version, check its connectivity, check the user login, double dashes, dash version. Okay, it's installed. Then we check MySQL dash u root dash p
No, dash u
root, then
dash
dash p enter, and then type the password 123,
and password was 123. Okay.
and
Right.
it
Right.
worked.
We are in.
Yeah. And so all of it worked. The only
Right.
difference that you had was that you did not use bundle exec, which is
Correct.
it's okay to use without bundle exec, but then it will typically pick up the latest and greatest, the biggest version numbers
Now,
available.
bundle exec is which command?
Bundle
Command
exec is a
from this chef or is command?
it's a
No, this it's a command from the chef, right?
no. It's a Ruby command to
Ruby
enforce
command. Okay.
discipline to enforce
Okay.
discipline on use of gem file and the gem file lock. So whatever you lock in the lock file is what will be executed. Whatever you specify in the gem file, that discipline will come from the gem file. That's what bundle exec does. If you remember the version of gem file, so version of chef used in gem file, it is 1203,
Right.
right? Now go back to the
Right.
terminal and type chef dash client dash, now come out here, exit, control D and control D.
Here, right?
One more, control D. So this is back to your workstation. In your workstation, you say chef dash client, no space, chef dash client, and check its version by spacing dash V. Now here, break it. Control C. Dash V
What?
version. Enter. And this will give you 1230.
Yeah. Because that's what we
Whereas
said
now,
in
no, that is not.
gem file.
That is not what is in the gem file. Not.
Yeah, gem file. Oh, okay. 12.0.3 in gem file, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So to get the one that we have in our gem file, we have to use bundle exec prefix. And so we'll say bundle exec and then chef dash client dash v.
Single word. No.
Two words.
Bundle.
Two words. No. The word is not exact, but exec. Execute. Bundle execute.
Oh, okay, I got it. Exec. Okay.
And then chef dash client dash v. And you will notice the difference in the
Version
output.
number. I need to tell the version number now.
Yeah. No. Just dash v. Just dash v. Enter.
So it will take from the gem file then?
Yes.
Okay.
And so you will see the difference. You will see the difference in the previous command versus this command. And the difference was a very subtle one, very small one. And the difference essentially is the use of version numbers.
No, but okay. So now I need to again bundle install, right?
No. Bundle install will not change anything. Let me describe this.
Right.
Hold on.
Okay.
So I think the simplest way to explain this is to actually type in this command I'm going to say, which is gem space list pipe. Now pipe is shift and yeah, that one. grep space chef. Enter. And now here you will see that the list of versions of chef that you have installed on your laptop, there are 1, 2, 3, and 4 different versions of chef. You see that? You have 4 different versions of chef. Now, which one do you want to use? Is the question that you have in mind, or anybody else will also have in mind. Which one do you want to use? And the way to specify that is by listing it in gem file.
Correct.
And then bundle, install, bundle update, things like that. And that is what is producing a lock file. And in your lock file, this one, you have it. It is the gem version, so the chef version here listed is actually 1203, whatever you specified in your gem file.
Right now, where is my sequence? Should be somewhere here, right?
Yeah, Control F and type chef.
Yes.
1203, and that is what you specified here.
In gem file, yes.
Correct. And so that is what is running here. And that
is running where? That is running where? That is running right now.
No.
So
that will run version 1203 because you said so in your gem file. That discipline comes from this command prefix. So when you use this prefix called bundle execute, you're basically suggesting that I would like to execute whatever is mentioned in my gem file.
Right.
If I don't use this, like here, for example, I did not use this bundle exec, then it will pick up the highest number.
Correct.
Right? Now just watch one more thing. Gem install chef and see what happens. You will see that it will install hold on, it could not find a proper gem. Break it. So you can call out other types of other gem versions also for the same chef gem, and they they will also get installed. here along with these guys. But then it will add to confusion and complexity as to which version of Chef do you really want to run. And that discipline, that disambiguation is brought to you through use of this file here, gem file. That is where you tell. Now in here you go back and change it to say 12.3.0,
Right.
or even something different, such as the latest version of gem available could be I think 12.4.1. So let's go search for the latest version of gem in your browser. You go to a site called rubygems.org and find the latest version of gem in the browser. New tab, Ruby Gems, and search for Chef. And in that search window, type Chef and pick the biggest number, which is probably 12.4.1. I don't know, we'll find out. So Chef, enter. And here you have the version of Chef coming up, and it is 12.4.1. So you use that version in your gem file and make it 12.4.1 and save. Then come back to your terminal and do a bundle update. Now you will notice that 12.4.1 will be installed.
Will also be okay. Okay.
It is going to rubygems.org right now, and then going to grab whatever you told it to here and install. And at the end of that installation, you will find that your Chef version listing will add one more entry.
One more. Right. Right. I got it. I got it.
And then you will have more confusion. Which chef do I want to use? And so that becomes a problem. So do you cut down that problem? You tell that I want to use whatever I want to use, and that is called out here in the gem file. And so let us wait for this to finish. And it could not, because there something happened. Unknown host error. It's a network problem. Remote fetcher, unknown host error, no such name. And so
remote problem. Both the sides, my side and that side also, right? Any side can happen.
Yeah,
right?
any side. Somewhere, we don't know where exactly the network problem is, but sorry. Yeah, go ahead, hit it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could not. Okay.
Yeah, it could not successfully install because of a remote fetch issue, so could not fetch it.
No. I could, but I could Chef configure when I say that okay, we could not completely install it. Okay, I got it.
It will eventually succeed. With the network problems are transient. They will fix over time. And then you will have one more version of Chef installed, and then you can use that particular version of gem through. Let's see if this succeeds this time. So all these new green items are actually newer gems that are needed for 12.4.1. These are dependencies, these green items.
Okay.
They all are needed to make 12.4.1 work. And so that is what you're looking at right now. And they will also be pulled down along with 12.4.1. And when everything completes, it will then have 12.4.1 also installed and listed.
Right, it did this.
And now you run grep and figure out what versions of Chef you have. You will see it.
Right.
And now if you run your Chef client command with and without, it will always give you 12.4.1 because it is the biggest number you have. Whether you run it with bundle exec or without bundle exec, in both cases, it will also use 12.4.1. in both cases
Correct, correct.
because it is the
Nice, man.
biggest number and also defined in your gem file.
Correct. Right, right. Okay.
So now you got the bundle exec
Right.
concept, right? It is
Right. Yeah.
fundamental for maintaining sanity and discipline in the company. Is what you have is what is written down, and that's what
Correct.
everybody will use. And so we'll stick to that as we proceed. So we have this gem file
Okay.
and lock and all that good stuff. We just did that part. So that is proceed.
Right. Right.
Let's go to the next step. And I'm taking my screen control away and
Sure.
showing you my screen now. And in my screen, you should see a whiteboard, or rather a blackboard today. And in that blackboard, you should see uh, I'm about to write. So what we did was using solo version of Chef. We were able to configure the machine itself, localhost. We were able to configure a remote machine somewhere in another cloud, and we applied a cookbook to run Nginx. We applied in another exercise, we applied MySQL and got these two different types of things running in some cloud somewhere away from us. We are sitting here in our local machine, and now we are changing the game a little bit. In this scenario, what we'll be doing is using not this solo software, but the other software that is called a combination of Chef Client and Chef Server. Both are needed. And when you use both of them together, Chef Client and Server, that is what the scenario will be playing now. Now, in order for us to have this thing running, we need to have a Chef Server. And we will have our workstation, which is where we are sitting, and we are going to operate on some DigitalOcean machine or some Amazon machine or HP, some other machine, some machine somewhere. And we are going to operate on these target, they are called nodes. And so we'll operate on the nodes as a target, but use this workstation, sorry, use our Chef server. We don't have a Chef server ready, so we are going to rent one. And this company chef.io has a account available to us at this site called manage.chef.io. And what they provide you is a software as a service which runs Chef server. It is currently called, the name they use today is called Chef Manage. That's what they refer to in their documentation these days. It used to be called Hosted Chef before, but that's the thing we will use. It is still a Chef server that is managed by them, hosted by them, and we'll call it Chef server. We'll have our workstation, and we will have some target nodes somewhere. Node 1, node 2, node 3, like that. And these nodes can be anywhere on the internet. As long as the nodes can connect to, you can connect to the node, and the node can connect to the Chef server and other things on the internet, then everything is okay, it will work. So we will have to have a method in which our nodes that we will have will be able to connect to the Chef server, and also Ubuntu repositories and a bunch other things outside on the internet. And so we need that internet based connectivity. So even if these machines can be inside a VPC or outside a VPC on the public internet, they need to have a method for these machines to connect to Chef server, to connect to other things, to maybe go to visit cnn.com, wherever they want to go, they should be allowed to go. These are going to be our nodes that are going to run our applications, and they may be inside a VPC, outside a VPC, doesn't matter. And they need to also connect to this Chef server. Now, if you look at my screen here, I'm going to go to that Chef server site right now, and I will make sure that we are sitting inside our workstation. And here in the workstation, we are going to log on to this site called chef.manage, manage.chef.io, and in that site I'm going to make it bigger so you can see properly. And what you will notice is that I have logged in. I'm going to begin from the beginning step where I'm actually logging in, and I'm assuming you have an account. So when you log in, the first thing you actually see is not this screen, but a different screen that looks kind of sort of like this coming up like this. This is what you should see when you first time log in, and you may not see this screen again. And that is the challenge I have for you, is how do you get to that screen again? You saw it probably the very first time you saw it, but then it is not visible to you again. And so you can get to that screen by modifying this URL. This one in Slack chat. And so in Slack chat, you have this URL that I have sent, which looks like what it does. And in that URL, you will see that I have this notepad, which I am going to bring it up again in the front. And here, I'm going to type it. And that URL is slightly different than what you would otherwise see. And I pasted it in Slack. I'm going to grab it again. And that is the URL I would like you to go. And that is where there is a download available for you. On that particular location will be a new download that you will find, and that is unique to you, and it will be manage.chef.io / organizations / modify this URL, this portion, and then / getting started. Now this modification has to happen in this section, and you have to find that modification based on the name you chose. You probably chose some name for the organization or the company that you created, and you probably have a name for yourself. So in this manage.chef.io site, you must have a username, and in addition to a username, it must have asked you to create an organization name. So you need to use the organization name here. And that is what you need to change, and then go to that site, and that is what you will find is going to give you a zip file. This zip file is what we need for us to connect to that remote machine. We actually need a bunch of other things also, but this is just one of the things that we need. And so you have to go there, manage.chef.io / organizations / the name of the organization that you chose, followed by / getting started. And that is what we need to create. Go to that URL by modifying the URL that you see here, and put the organization name that you chose. If you do not remember the organization name you chose, you can get there by going to this site and look at your name on the upper right corner and go a little bit left of that, and that is where you will find the name of the organization. The organization name is what we want to pick from here. In the computer, it will look something like this. Like I have my name here, and then right into the left of it, you have this organization name. Now my name of the organization happens to be Classroom. This one. That's the name I chose. And so that is what I will take as my URL, and go back to my writing. And here in this scenario, I will change that, modify this URL, and put my organization name, which happens to be Classroom. So I will modify this as Classroom, and that becomes my URL. So that's the URL I will take and go to a browser. Again, stay inside your virtual machine, and that is what I see now. When I go to that site, I find that there is a download starter kit available. That is exactly what I want. So I will download the starter kit, and there it goes. It says that my user and organization key will be reset. Are you sure you want to do that? And the answer is yes, I'm sure I want to do that. That is exactly what I want to do that, because that is how I will be able to connect to that Chef manage site, or the manage.chef.io site, by using the keys that are contained inside this zip file. And so I'm saying yes, proceed, and it will download something, and I will save it, and save it in a safe place such as the downloads folder. And so that is where I have this folder zip contained in this location. That is what I wanted to get, which I now have, and that will eventually become our kitchen. Our new kitchen is going to be this one. So did you succeed in finding that zip? It will be unique to you, customized for you, just for you, and that is what we want to use, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you should
I could
remember.
find it.
Right? I missed what you said.
I could find it. I did already. So I think, yeah, I could find
Okay,
out.
good,
I could find it.
nice. So this zip file is what contains a lot of things that we want to use that, and so I will take this zip file and actually unzip it by right clicking on it and say extract here, and it will extract it right here, and it will create a new folder called chef-repo. That's the one I want. And so I will take that chef repo folder that I got expanded folder and take it to my home. So move it all the way to your home location, and in the home I will go and drop it. And so now I have this chef-repo folder in my home, this one right here. That's the location I prefer to keep things in my home. And now, having done that, I will go to the terminal and go to my home, and in the home I will go to this newly created folder called chef-repo, and that is where my kitchen is. And so I will just check out my kitchen by atom dot, and it will open up the kitchen. So we'll go and see inside what do we have. It's a ready-made kitchen with connectivity available to the chef server. At the top you have this usual folder called .chef, and then we have some cookbooks, some roles, and a readme example. Now, having understood this example set, what we want to actually do is go read the detail behind what these three things are. There were critically important things here. Is the .chef folder. That is the most important thing you will find. And so you have to go there and understand what it contains. So the first thing you will see is that it has this your name.pem is a personal key available to you. So I know personal key is not a good idea to share, but I'm going to share. Here is how it looks. Personal key. This is very similar to your private key that you will have in IDRSA. It is actually an RSA private key. And this is the key connection between you and the chef server. This is the private key corresponding to that. You will also see that there is this other key-like file. It's called the organization name dash validator dot something. And you click on that, and you will find that it also has another private key. Now this private key is different from the name private key, which is your name probably, as opposed to the nilesh.pem. There is this classroom validator.pem. It's the organizational validator pem file is this one, which is what we also need, so that the machines that we will create, the infrastructure we'll develop, the services that we set up, they will all belong to the organization that is being set up under. And that organizational segregation and disambiguation happens through this file that is collectively called organizational validator, and there is a private key file called the pem file for that. you also have you as your PEM file, the personal PEM file, and that is another important thing in addition to the organizational level validation through a PEM file. And then there is a third thing also important, which is the knife.rb file. As you recall, the knife.rb file is supposed to store a lot of critical detail inside the folder in terms of what you put here can include AWS credentials, DigitalOcean tokens, and so things of that nature that allows us to use this knife RB file and the corresponding solo kitchen that you have here. We'll convert that kitchen into a Chef server usable kitchen that you can use with the Chef server also. And that is what we are heading towards. So we need three things essentially: your personal PEM, your organizational PEM, and your knife RB. We have all three of them right now in here: the company validator, the personal PEM, and the knife RB file. And it's here. And knife RB is what you see here, and that's the knife RB available for you to use. You can actually take content from a previous knife RB you might have and compare. And so we do actually have another knife RB from a previous attempt. You may want to compare it, how it looks different. And so this is the knife RB that this company gave us, and it looks slightly different from what we have already in our folder. You have this previous attempt we did was this folder that we created called My Cloud, which has a hidden folder called .chef, and inside that .chef is this detail that you see. And so even in this Chef repo folder, which is in your home location, you have this Chef repo folder. If you look carefully, it does not show you the .chef location because it is hidden. It's a hidden file, a hidden folder. And in Atom, you will see that. You have the .chef folder, and there are these 1, 2, and 3 elements. They're hidden from regular view. You don't see them here in the Chef repo folder view. But having understood that they exist, you have to then compare between what do you have in the Chef repo with what you had before in, say, another repo called My Cloud. And so let us do that comparison very quickly by opening up terminal, and not this terminal, opening up the terminal, and in the terminal you go and examine what do you have in your folders. And so I'm running these two side by side, and I have on one end, I'm going to go to My Cloud folder, and in the My Cloud folder I have this .chef, where I have this knife RB and an encrypted data bag secret. Whereas in the Chef repo that I just downloaded from the company, if I look at the .chef folder in here, I find that I have 3 files. And these 3 files are the company validator, the personal PEM, and the knife RB. So the difference between this knife RB and this knife RB is I'm curious about, and that is what we want to be able to do. So if you look at this one quickly, cat knife RB, it looks like this. On this side, it is cat knife RB. It looks kind of sort of similar, except you will notice that this one on the left side has a reference to the Chef server in this line, server URL. That is a pointer reference to your Chef server that is running in chef.io. But here you will notice that the Chef server URL still has the old company name opscode.com, which is still works. It is fine to keep it that way. No need to change it. You will also notice that the personal key file, the client validator as in company or organizational validator reference, and the validation key corresponding to the company organizational validator is also referred in the same location. Most other things are very similar, except the cookbook path needs expanding, and we want to include the site cookbooks folder before the cookbooks folder so that it gets precedence. It doesn't have this encrypted data bag secret yet, so we have to add that eventually. And let us now look at what we have in our write-up in this location about what we are going to do is to use this manage.chef.io site, and through that site operate on a cloud infrastructure, but this time using the manage.chef.io servers. So in this example, what you will see is that there is a place where I define how that knife RB should be looking like. And so here is an example knife RB, that this is how I would like it to look like. And so in the screen here, you have a couple of things that you need to worry about in making sure that your knife RB actually matches in structure to this example. And so that example is on this location that you see in the first segment, where you go to using chef server from chef.io in that segment. So we will make those changes to our knife RB to make it look kind of sort of like this. And we will take this copy and take it to our workstation and save it in the Atom editor on the side. So we'll go atom dot, or rather first of all cd dot dot, and then atom dot. In order to stay in the chef repo folder, I want to stay in that folder, and I want to close out on this folder, which I don't need. And so this folder is what I currently do, and in here I'm going to open Atom, and you will find that knife RB becomes visible, and I want to make changes to that knife RB like this, like what I have in the copy buffer from the site. And so this is the current knife RB as we obtained, and the new knife RB should look like this. And so we have to identify changes. What is the difference? This line matches, so delete. The log level matches, delete. Log location matches, delete. Node name, it may not match for you. Your name will be different. In my case, line number 1 matches with line number 6, and so I delete. In your case, the client key number will be different. In my case, it matches between 7 and 16, so I'm going to delete 16, and I deleted that. Then you have line number 16, which is the validation client name, which is matching line number 8 for me. So I'm going to delete line 16 as well. It may not match for you. Your name may be different, or your name is definitely different. It is probably not classroom. And so line number 8 and 16 may be different for you, and you have to make changes appropriately and then get rid of one of them. Next one is validation key. This is the company validation key that you have, which will also be different because your name is going to be different. It depends on what name assignments you have for your classroom validator. And so this validation key is what I want to go and actually delete because I have the line number 9 matching. Then I have the chef server URL. In your case, it will be different. It will not be this classroom location, but in my case it is matching. So I'm going to delete line number 17 because line number 10 matches. Now comes the cookbook path. Now this cookbook path is slightly different. Between 11 and 17, you will notice that the line number 17 has an extra item in there called site cookbook, which I want to keep. So I'll get rid of the line number 11 itself, and I'll preserve what I have already, which is line number 16, which now going to become line number 11 when I delete this chunk of empty text. And now you see that there is a reference to line number 13 through 15, and then 17, and then 21. All these things are essentially visa stickers. If you think of them as visa stickers, if you think of knife RB as the passport. And so line number 13, 14, and 15 is where I need to provide my access key and secret ID for Amazon Web Services based on what the company Amazon Web Services gives me as my access key and secret. And that permission needs to go in this location and this location. And that is what I will obtain. And so I will grab my AWS access key and secret ID and put them here in these two locations. And I will also go to my Rackspace and grab the username. Like I know my username is this. And then I have to get an API key from Rackspace, which I will put it here in this location. And then I have to go to DigitalOcean, get a token from them, and put that in this location called change this. And that's three-step process. I have to go and find from Amazon these two items, and from Rackspace this one item, and then from DigitalOcean this one item. And that's what is needed if I want to operate on that particular cloud provider using Chef infrastructure, using this tool set. Then we need that Visa sticker. And so you at least need one company to work with. Otherwise, how will you work? So you have to get at least one, if not all of these tokens and secrets. You just have to get one. So I'm going to get the DigitalOcean. It's readily available. I know where it is. And I'm going to go there, log in. And when I log in, I'll just ask for a token. They'll give me a token and I'll use that token and I'm done. And so here I have API and click on generate a new token. Then I grab the token. Token name cannot be blank. And generate the token. Now I copy the token here. And take this token back to my virtual machine. And in the VM, I need to put that token value in this location right here at the bottom. Line number 21 takes my token. And there we go. So we have it now. And that's how Knife RB should be structured. We are not using the Amazon constructs. We are not using the Rackspace details. We are just using DigitalOcean right now. And that is the intention for this at this moment. We'll expand other tokens and keys and make it bigger, make it more complex and more complete. But for right now, this Knife RB should be usable. So there we go. I closed it. Now what do we have? Is this Knife RB completed, classroom and personal PEMs in place. And at this moment, we should be able to connect to our Chef server just fine. Because we have our keys in place, our company key, our company PEM file, our personal PEM file, and our Knife RB and all that good stuff all in place, which means we should be able to actually start connecting to that Chef server and making some meaningful usage out of it. Now, before we jump into that, let us quickly check the next step here in the writing. And it begins with actually using a gem file, another one, this time this gem file. And so we will go back to our terminal and we'll notice that in our Atom editor there is no gem file. So to create one, so we'll create one by pressing Ctrl N and then pasting a gem file here. Where do you get the gem file from? This write-up. And here you will notice that I'm using a slightly different version of gem. Because it doesn't even matter which version of gem you actually use, as long as you are putting that in discipline and putting it in a gem file, it's okay to use any version you like. It doesn't really bother anybody because you're disciplined about what you're using, you know exactly what you're doing, and that is what we'll do. Slightly different version of gem for Chef as defined here in the write-up is 12.2.1 as opposed to 12.4.1 or 12.30 or 12.03, any of these versions we have. So a new gem file means we have to go save it first and then bundle. So this is the gem file, and I'm going to save it inside the newly established kitchen, newly expanded kitchen called gem file, and in that I will drop it in. Now I have the gem file, which means I can go bundle, and so I will bundle. As you will notice, the bundle will complete and a log file will get created. And that will show up here. And that log file is what we will be using to operate through bundle execute and make use of certain different types of scenarios. So back in our write-up, we have completed creating a gem file and then bundled it. Next up, we have to take a snapshot of the workstation, and this is a very good step to do. What we really want to do is that at this moment, we have had this golden opportunity to collect a bunch of different things from a bunch of different places, and we don't want to waste time. Essentially, we don't want to waste time in doing the thing over and over and over again. So by now we have several key things in place. One of them is this location, which is your home location, and it has this file IDRSA and the corresponding .pub file. That is one key piece of information we need to have. This allows us to connect to machines. Another key piece of information that we now have is through the use of a Chef server key for the company and a key for the individual, which is you and the organization you created, both. And we have placed that in your home chef-repo/.chef. It's a hidden folder, but that folder contains three things. One is the knife RB. Second one is your individual PEM for the user. And the third one is the organizational PEM file. And so at this moment, we have also made some changes to our knife RB file, and we have these keys in place and all that good stuff. So we want to take a snapshot of the virtual machine itself. And that is a great idea because you can always quickly come back to where you are right now. As you will go ahead, I'm pretty sure one of us will make some deviation from the standardized written down method. And so that is okay to go explore, go random directions to understand and explore. But it is important to remember to take a snapshot. A snapshot is very simple. Just go machine, take a snapshot. On the top, host, machine, take a snapshot. Click. And here it will give you a place to type a name. So I'm going to type a name to this snapshot that I'm taking on the virtual machine itself. And here I'm going to name it before I make mess. That is the name of my snapshot. And so save it. The name of the snapshot was before I make mess. What will it allow me to do is to actually make mess. So I can now go make mess, and anytime I think I made a mistake, I can come back to this point by just restoring it. And so we can just go settings and restore the snapshot, the one that we just took, and we are back in this point in time automatically. Having done that part, remember, please take a snapshot. It'll help you in basically going random directions to explore further and make changes and come back to this beginning point, which is right now. And that beginning point is established, and you have taken efforts to make things in proper place and in a proper shape. So I want you to take a snapshot. It helps. having that, in my example, I was going to call this snapshot as chef is ready, but it doesn't even matter what you call it as long as you remember. I called it before I make mess. So it's what? Yeah, I understand. Next is what we want to do is see if we can connect to the Amazon cloud provider. In our case, at least in my case, I have not provided my Amazon credentials to the Knife RB. So I should do that before I run the Amazon related commands in Knife. And so let me do that piece. And this piece involves secret. And so I will go to Amazon Cloud Services and grab that secret from the location where I have my keys that I generate for Amazon. And so I'm logging in and generating a key pair. And you will find that I have to type this number, which is a multi-factor identification. And that number is 483241. And that will let me in. I'll go to Identity and Access Management Services. And here I will create a new user. I'll call this user as my test user. And then I create the keys for it. And here are my keys for that test user. And so I'll grab this security key, access key, and go back to my virtual machine. And in that virtual machine, I will go to my Knife RB file. And in that Knife RB file, I have this access key location for Amazon. And that location currently contains ASDF, whatever random thing. I will delete that. And in that location, I will place this access key that I now have from Amazon, that I will place it here and save. Similar to that, I will also go to Amazon and grab my secret access key, which is this long set of characters, copy that, and then go back to my virtual machine again and go to the Knife RB AWS secret access key location where I have this random character written down. I will delete all that and paste this secret key that I have now and save. Now these are valid keys, and so these keys, access key and secret key, and US West 2 means it's Oregon region is where it will allow me to operate on. And so that
One
line
question is
number,
there.
yes, go ahead.
One question is there. If you're not using Amazon Cloud, we don't need to worry about these things, right?
Correct.
Right. Second thing, but who defines what are the parameters need to be there? For example, I can see only I can see only one token, whereas Amazon, you need to create list of things, you have access key, you have zone, you need to define all those. Who decides that?
Yes, very good question, and I'll tell you that. And so if you go to Chef and find out that all the plugins that we are using right now, we are using these plugins. As you will go in your gem file, you will find references of these plugins in your gem file. So for EC2, there is this plugin called Knife EC2, and it is provided by, who's the creator? I think the Chef company created this. Maybe somebody else. No, some Indian company actually created it here. So Clogeny Technologies, this company created this Knife EC2 gem, and this lady Nimisha created in Pune. And so Clogeny Technology in Pune created this Knife EC2 gem and contributed to the open source world. And that organization essentially decides what needs to be going in your Knife RB file that will allow it to operate on Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud EC2. And so if you scroll, and you will find that it defines how to configure, and that configuration can depend on the underlying infrastructure provider. And so in this example, you see the Knife gem for EC2, Knife EC2 plugin, and that installation is done through a gem file defined here, like gem install Knife EC2. You will also find that we also have in our gem file a reference to Knife EC2. and that is why we are using that gem. We also have a reference to knife DigitalOcean gem. We can also add another gem here called knife Rackspace. We can add other gems here called gem Google. We can add other gem knife Azure. So it really doesn't really matter which company you're using as long as you have the appropriate knife plugin listed in the gem file and bundled up. And then go back to that particular gem provider and ask them, what do you want us to include in the knife RB? So in this example, you will see that they are giving us instructions to at least have these two things, access key and secret key, and optional. If you're using Amazon STS, you have to get a session token or bunch other details provided. You can also specify flavor and image and availability zone and key name and all that goes on and on. The Amazon is way too big, so you can go granular and define a whole lot of things. Similar to this particular knife EC2 gem, there is another gem that we have used, which is called knife DigitalOcean. And in that gem, you will find that this gentleman from, I think he's from Germany, I suspect, and this gentleman who created the gem, yeah, he's from Munich, and he created the knife DigitalOcean gem. And in that gem that we are using in our gem file, we see that this knife DigitalOcean gem requires only one item called the token. How do you configure it? Just put a token. That's it. That's all you need. That's how he has configured it. That you get the token and put that in the knife RB file and you're done. That's what he tells us.
So we need to go to GitHub and
this is
go
reading
to Grab and go to Chef and Grab.
yeah.
Okay.
You have to read the documentation corresponding to every little thing that you would use. And so the documentation for this gem is available by Roland Moritz, whereas the other documentation was from the other gem. We looked at this one, and you saw this Indian company contributing to making its development further. And so contributions like this come along in open source all over the world, and we need to go read the main documentation from that product, and that defines how to make use of the configuration. Here is just these two lines are essential. You can add other things if you like. And so that's the answer to your question. So after having these two elements added to my knife RB file, I'm going to close this entry and make sure that I actually provide permissions to this user called test. This test doesn't have any permission, so I'm going to add him as EC2 manager and save. And so now I have given some permissions to that user. Without this permission, that user will not be able to do anything because that user was defunct with no role. And so I just assigned a role for it to manage my EC2 machines. And so having done that, I know that I can now work with Amazon as a cloud provider with my tool set that is using knife. So back in our terminal, we can now query what is going on with Amazon using the terminal right here. So it will be something like bundle exec, that's the prefix always, followed by knife EC2 server list. Okay, I'm in the wrong location. Bundle exec knife EC2 server list. And I got a list of all the machines I'm running right now, all of them. And the list is empty because I don't have any machines. Okay, let us change the region. And in my example, I'm going to go knife RB. And in this example, region US West 1, sorry, US West 2, I'll make it US East and 1. And then save it. And so I just changed my region back in here. and I run it one more time, what do I have? I have 3 machines running, and you see them. I'll go back and change my region again to US West and 2. So keep it in Oregon, because that's what I create. All the work we do in the class is, I typically tend to do it in Oregon. So I'm back in my Oregon region. Click again, terminal, and run the same command again. I'll get nothing. And so what you saw is that,
Nilesh, is there any way to specify multiple regions?
I think not. I think they have limited it to one region at a time. And so the assumption is that you will work with a region. That's the assumption underlying that these guys have made. I think you cannot specify multiple regions.
I see. So that means, so for each region, you have to have a kitchen then.
I know, correct. And so this is not plural. This word would have been plural. The region word would have been something like regions, in order for us to allow multiple entry.
Right.
But it is not plural. But I'm going to read the documentation just to cross check and do that part right now. So going back here, going to knife EC2.
No, but how? But that's unique, right?
Huh? Sorry?
My point is, how can it, when you really deploy it to the remote place, when remote place, then you need to specify the region also, as a parameter, right? If it's not in file, right?
Correct.
See, I mean,
Correct.
how can we, because I think, because Amazon is so big, they divide into regions. DigitalOcean did not, right? In a sense, they have also, but I think still they can manage with.
I would argue. I would argue slightly differently. I will say that DigitalOcean is designed better in that they treat their entire operation in all the regions that they have in a unified fashion.
Seamless.
Whereas in Amazon, it is all broken up into regions, and it's kind of confusing. It is so confusing in Amazon that you actually have to create separate keys.
But digital,
right? A key pair created in one region
but
doesn't
DigitalOcean
work
also
with
has a region, right?
Huh? Sorry?
DigitalOcean also has a region actually, right?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
DigitalOcean, I am in Singapore region, right?
Yes. I think DigitalOcean has these locations. So New York, Amsterdam, San Francisco, Singapore, London, Frankfurt.
But the access key doesn't matter. It applies to it, whatever the region
Correct.
it is.
Yes. And in here, in
that
Amazon,
way,
to create a key pair,
yeah.
it is limited to that region. So a key pair, this EDX, whatever that key pair I have, you will probably not find in Tokyo unless I have put it there manually. I think not. Yeah, see, it is missing from Tokyo. So I cannot use that same key pair in Tokyo or in Sao Paulo for that matter. And so that's how Amazon has decided to treat these different regions as separate clouds, as separate companies in effect. And that's what you see as a fallout, is that in here, you can specify only one region at a time. So it is dealing with one region at a given time. At least the key pairs at the Uber level, access key and secret, is at least global, which works. And so let us similarly experiment with this other scenario, which is bundle exec knife digital underscore ocean. And that's the name of the company, is digital underscore ocean. That's the exact name. It has to be like that. And then they don't call the machines as servers, if you remember. They call them as droplets. And then you list them. And so it's bundle exec knife digital ocean droplet list. And it cannot be plural, it has to be singular. And so then it will give you a list of nothing, because I have nothing. in that DigitalOcean. So there is nothing running. So you got nothing back as a list. And so you have the command here, and it ran and it gave us what it found in DigitalOcean, and it found nothing. So we got nothing. And so DigitalOcean currently is empty, and that's what you saw, empty. And in DigitalOcean, there is no such distinction between which region you are on. It just gives you a collective aggregate of all nations, all locations that these guys have. So that list in their web UI, as well as in their terminal UI here, you will all see the same thing. If you create one machine in Singapore and another in Amsterdam, you will see both of them listed. Not the same way in EC2 is different. EC2 will limit it to a region, and that's what you will see in EC2. So you go to EC2 here and click and find, and you find that there are 0 running instances in Sao Paulo. There are 0 running instances in Oregon, but there are 3 running instances in Virginia. And that's what we have, and so that's what it shows. Whatever you see here is what is they're trying to represent in the terminal.
So a question relating to a similar thing. We created a node JSON file for each node instead of having, so that means, we have 100 nodes. So that means we need to have 100 node files, JSON files?
Yes.
Or can we list them in just one single file?
You can use a representation to make it a simpler reference, but in a sense, you will have to have 100 entries for all the 100 nodes in your Chef server. Yes.
So they can be in one single file instead of multiple files?
We will get to that in terms of how do you actually represent. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You can use concepts such as regular expressions to write and define it in a bulk level. So you don't have to write 100 different files with the same content, but you can automate some of that. We'll get to that example.
Okay, thanks.
So in here, what we are able to do is just connect to our EC2 cloud, DigitalOcean cloud, just about any cloud, just like that. And that's good. But now let us see what happens when you connect to the Chef server. Are you able to connect to the Chef server here and see what nodes does Chef? So bundle exec knife node list. Tell me all the nodes that I am running under Chef server. And so there is only one node, which is my name. My name is what you have as I'm a node as a user. Now if I change the question to knife client list, you will see that the entity that I have, which is the organizational validator name reference, comes back. And if you say bundle exec knife cookbook list, you're querying for all the cookbooks I have. And so you got a long list of cookbooks that came back from the Chef server. Let us see some more. Knife, and followed by role list. What roles do I have? Nothing. Knife, environment list. I probably have nothing. Oh, one environment, the default environment. It was there. Then we have data bag list, and we have no data bags. And so there is a cheat sheet available which collects and basically where I have written down a bunch of commands that you can make use of and reference, and that cheat sheet is available in here. A cheat sheet for Chef commands, and that cheat sheet will give you a listing of a variety of different mix and match of all commands that you will typically run to deal with a variety of different things, such as knife EC2 server list, or how do you create a server, or how do you find out what servers are running, how do you delete a server, how do you delete a node, how do you delete a client. Then you have how do you delete all the cookbooks you have in the chef server. So sometimes you just need to clean up. And so in this example, where I have these bunch of different cookbooks from previous attempts that I don't want, so I can just clean them up by saying bundle exec knife cookbook bulk delete -y to say yes to every delete. And then I'm putting a regular expression. I'm collectively deleting all the cookbooks that match that regular expression, which is dot followed by asterisk, which will catch every expression of cookbook name that shows up in the listing and delete all of them. So when I enter this line, it will delete all my cookbooks, and it will just do it one at a time and basically kill everything. And this way I'm going to begin from scratch, and I will have an empty chef server. And that's what I'm doing right now, is basically killing all my cookbooks. And I think you can do similar steps if you run into a problem, but I don't think you will run into a problem. But here is a method of deleting all your cookbooks that you might have. It is a good way to clean up and begin from scratch if you want to. And that, I think, is a likely scenario where you might want to do it all over again. And in that case, you will come back here to the bulk delete command and remove all of them. Then there is this knife cookbook list command, which is going to list all your cookbooks. And so you will say knife cookbook list, which will give you an empty list right now because I just deleted everything. So what we are dealing with right now essentially is that we have a workstation, we have a chef server, and we have this EC2 from Amazon, we have this DigitalOcean from DigitalOcean, and we are sitting here on the workstation and we are seeing, hey, what do I have running here, what do I have running here, and what do I have here. And that's the query that we just did. 3 locations. You can add more by adding knife plugins to other clouds, and that way you can orchestrate whatever you want. And this chef server will essentially contain your kitchen, and you will send your kitchen over to here, and then you can go on vacation. That's the whole idea behind this chef server scenario, is that you're not needed right there to manage on a day-to-day basis. It lets you take the burden away from you and allows you freedom to think bigger. And so back in our step sequence, which is not the cheat sheet is not a sequence, but is just a sheet. So back in our sequence, what we have is this scenario where what a okay. So the scenario we want to actually play out is to send our kitchen to the machine out there. So uploading our kitchen, so we have to go do that step by step to upload our kitchen and have it available. So if you look at our folder structure right now, it contains some cookbook right there. There is some cookbook, and there is a role defined, and there is this gem file that we have, and we have bundled it up and all that. And so what I want to be able to do is play that cookbook against a target machine, and this is the starter cookbook that they have given us. So if you go look at Atom, you will find that this cookbook that it has here called starter cookbook is already made available to us. And as you will remember, there is no Burks file here. We are not using a Burks file right now. And what I want to be able to do is just give you a first run experience of using the chef server scenario. And so in our gem file, we have these gems, and we want to use the starter role and make sure that that starter role gets run on a target machine. And that's what we want to be able to do. So in order for that starter role to get applied to a machine using the starter cookbook, using the chef server, we need to make sure that our cookbook collection and our roles are sent over the starter role and the cookbook collection that we have, which is only one, that needs to be sent over to chef server. So how do we do that? There is a cheat sheet command for that, and you can refer to the cheat sheet if you like. But the command essentially is bundle exec knife cookbook upload dash o. That should be the command if I remember right. And this command will, no, it was not right. Oh, I should say dash all. Okay, so I should say cookbook upload dash dash all, and then it will start sending all the cookbooks we have, and we just have only one, and so it sent that one cookbook we have, and that's the name of the cookbook called starter. And now we should be able to see that cookbook in our chef interface in the policy cookbooks starter cookbook. So that's what you should find your starter cookbook once you send it over to the chef server. And so it is showing me all my cookbooks in the policy tab, and that's where I find that I have my starter cookbook available. Having done that, what I will next do is to actually send my role that I have, and currently there is no role available in the server side. So I need to send my role, which is the starter role. This role needs to go to the chef server, and so we will send that through a terminal command. To send a role to the chef server is bundle exec. It's kind of kludgy, I should say. It's not very intuitive. In this command is not super intuitive, but here how it goes. Knife role from file roles starter. That's how you write apparently. And then it will send the starter role over to chef server. And now it says that it did send the starter role over to chef server, which means in our chef server view in the graphical user interface and the website, if you refresh and look at the policy tab and look at the roles available, we have a starter role, and that is available to us. Similar to that, we have our cookbook also available in the same policy section, the starter cookbook available, starter role available. We don't have a data bag. We have only one environment, which is the default environment. And we have a client, which is the classroom validator or the organizational validator. And the role is what I want to apply against a machine that we will have in the cloud that we'll create and make use of. And so going back to our step sequence here, you need to basically create a machine somewhere in the cloud that will use the starter recipe that you have in your command sequence, in your kitchen where you have a starter recipe. You want to include that starter recipe and apply that like this. And so in this scenario, you have this sample command constructed. I will take that and dissect it for you, so you will get that idea clear as to what we are exactly doing. And so I will go to the go to editor right now, editor, and bring it in foreground. I think it is hiding behind. So here it comes. This is Atom editor, and this is how we have in the write-up. That's what we intend to do. Let us read on what it means. What this command will do for us, as you can read in line number 1, bundle exec, obvious, knife EC2 server create. We are essentially creating a new server, a new machine in the cloud. We will passing it a name for the key that we use. That in this example, I have chosen the name key name. In your example, it is probably ID underscore RSA. And you can find that name by going to Amazon and going to the Amazon control panel. And here choose your region, which is in my case the Oregon region. And here you will find that in EC2 section, I have a key pair, and that key pair in my example is called this. And so I need to use that name. And that is the name I will use, the key pair name. Your name may be different. And so I will use that name here. Paste. And then I have this -I reference, which is going to be dash the same exact thing, except instead of keyname.pem, it will be ID underscore RSA. We'll also pass a couple other parameters, such as -x, -I, -f, and -r. These are the minimum that you need to pass. Now let us go study what these things are and where do you get the values for them. And so the -x option basically means the user that you want to use for the target machine that you will create. Who's going to be the user? What is going to be the username? And that is this value in line number 4, -x. The username needs to be Ubuntu, because that is what Amazon documentation says. For any machine that runs Ubuntu OS that runs on Amazon, the username has to be Ubuntu. That's a convention that Amazon has chosen. For any machine that runs on Amazon and is Amazon Linux, the convention is that they will use the name EC2-user. For any machine that runs on Amazon that Amazon will running Ubuntu, then the convention has been that they will use the name Ubuntu. For any machine that runs on DigitalOcean, the convention that DigitalOcean has set is that the username has to be root. For another cloud provider that I have seen, I think in Microsoft Azure, it will, if you run Ubuntu, it will let you select your name you like. In some other cloud providers such as what's that name, DreamHost, they're trying to be copycats, and what they have done is DH underscore user. Oh no, sorry, DH dash user. That's the name they use for their usernames for all the OSs. They're trying to copy Amazon style, and so yeah, people differ between cloud providers. So like this was Azure example, Azure running Ubuntu, and so different companies have different naming terminology that they have chosen. And having understood that part, that's line number 4. Line number 5 is probably obvious by now. Can you tell me where this comes from? Line number 5 is the machine ID, Amazon machine image. And this comes from this location. So Ubuntu has dedicated a site to get you the appropriate correct Amazon machine image in a region of your choice. And yes, Amazon is big and Ubuntu wants to be there in every region, in every size, in every combination. So here is why. Here's what you have. So lot of choices. And so there are about 957 different machine images available worldwide in Amazon for Ubuntu, officially provided by Ubuntu. And there are more machine images that you and I can create. And so let us go understand how do you actually select the appropriate machine image for a given OS. You go to the source, and the source in this case happens to be the company Ubuntu. So we'll go to them. And here at the bottom, scroll down and find out, first thing, which region do you want to be in? And I will choose my region, which is US West 2. And so this will narrow down the choices substantially. Click. And so now I have 99 entries to select from. And so in that collection of 99 entries, the next question I will ask for myself is what is the version of the OS I would like to choose? And I typically prefer either Trusty or Precise. And I'll tell you why. Press Trusty or Precise, that's my preference usually. And so let's begin with Trusty. And we narrow it down to only 12 choices. Now, if you know why Trusty, why Precise, that's good. If you do not know, let us find out why. And the answer is here, is that Ubuntu releases versions of OS every so often, almost every year, predictably. On the date, you will have the version. A new OS comes out exactly on the date that they set. It is time-based releases, and releases come out like machine. But certain versions of OS, as you will notice in the red versus magenta lines, orange versus magenta lines, is that certain versions of Ubuntu are longer duration supported, long-term supported, like this magenta line here for Ubuntu 14.04. This version, 14.04, is a long magenta line. And similarly, this version 12.04 also is long magenta line. And so is 10.04, also long magenta colored line. However, it is 2015 and more than half of it is passed, which means this magenta line is crossed over. Means the support available for 10.04 is not there anymore. It's out of support cycle. And so the two versions that are currently supported on a long-term basis are 12.04 and 14.04. And that is what is Trusty and Precise. Trusty is 14.04 and Precise is 12.04. Long-term support, LTS. And that's what you will find here. And so once you select them, the next thing to select is the architecture, and that is AMD 64 versus 32-bit i386. So if you select 64-bit OS, that's good. Next, the choice is what type of instance do you want? And you will select that there are these broad categories of HVM type versus the older type. And so the HVM type is called hardware virtual machine type, versus the older technology was called para-virtualization technology. And the last four items in the selection are actually not HVM. So I want to select the HVM style, and I will select that. And so once I drop down to HVM with an EBS elastic backed store, elastic block store as a backend, then I have these three choices. One of them is the EBS backed storage with a magnetic hard disk. The third one is EBS backed storage on a hardware virtual machine with SSD backend. And the second one is hardware virtual machine with EBS based backend with an SSD on the backside, which is a little bit higher performing SSD with IO per second guaranteed. And that is this IO1 option. And so you have these magnetic, SSD, and high performing SSD as three choices that you can narrow down on. And that is what becomes a place for you to get the Amazon Machine ID. So that is what we can obtain from here. If you are in Oregon and you want trusty and 64-bit and SSD based backend, you will grab this Amazon Machine ID, copy, and take it to your command line here and paste it.
A question, Nilesh.
Yes.
For the ID RSA, do we give the SSH key the private or the public?
In this command, line number 3 is private.
So for creating the server, we give the private.
This
Because when we are creating the EC2 instance, we are giving a public key, right?
No, in this example, line number 3 is private key. To create the server, you don't need line number 3. Line number 3
Okay.
is useful to connect to it.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it.
And so in line number 6, we define the size of the machine, how big the machine should be. T2 micro, M3 medium, C3X extra large. That's sizing. It basically boils down to how much money you will spend and how big the machine you will get. And then you define a -R option, which is the run list. And that run list basically is a reference to what do you really want to run. And here we are passing a recipe called starter. And that is what we will pass in the command that you saw and in this example that you have. Now here, if you run that entire command sequence in terminal, it will still not work unless you make sure that your cookbook is available to the chef server and that your role is available to the chef server. In that example, then you will go and come back to your instruction set and grab that long instruction that I was trying to assemble here, that one. You grab the whole thing, bring back to the terminal and paste it here. And now you are getting ready to actually invoke the command. When you invoke this command, I want to actually watch what happens on your side. And so what I will now do is I know for sure that if I run this command myself, it will fail for a reason that I may have told you long ago, that do not delete your VPC. Because if you delete your existing default VPC, then these commands will not work in the easier shortcut method like we are running right now. They will work for you, but they will not work for me because I have made that mistake of deleting my default VPC and Amazon will not give me back for some reason. They are taking their own time. So when they'll take their time, I'm stuck. In the meanwhile, you are not stuck, so you should actually run it. And so what I'm going to do is just watch one of your screens and see how this thing runs for you. So do I have a volunteer?
So go ahead, Kanu.
Okay, coming up.
Okay, so I I- so I create a user in the Amazon cloud. Okay,
Hold on.
and
Hold on. You have a problem going on. Unauthorized operations. So your
right.
key and secret is invalid. What
So
does
this is
that
what the
mean?
so this is Amazon parameters, right? So what I did was I created this is Amazon user test user, okay, and these are key and secret access key.
Yes,
I pasted that here, okay,
yes, yes. Did that user
and
get
here, and then
permission from you? Did you give it permission? Just by
permission
creating a
to
user doesn't mean the user has permission.
right.
I gave permission and yet I'm not able to connect it now.
Hey Kanu,
Okay, so
I'm not able to
user.
hear you properly. I know you're saying something, but I cannot hear you. You have to create a group here, Chandra, and create the group, give it the group level permission for EC2 usage, and then add the test user as no, this group name is EC2. Group name is not test group, EC2 group. And then you give them the permission for EC2 full access, and then assign, search for it. No, not this. No, not this.
Mm-hmm.
Just EC2 only. EC2 only. EC2 all. So search for it. Policy type search.
Okay.
You can give EC2
EC2 all,
access,
right?
EC2 full access.
This one? No.
Previous. EC2 full
EC2.
access.
Just type full access?
Yeah.
Okay. Next
Do
step.
we need to create a group or can we give a permission to the user?
You can give permission directly to user, but I do not recommend that for a simple reason that if you do it the way Chandra is doing right now, it's more elegant. You can dynamically create and delete users as and when you feel like, while still retaining the group in place. The group has a permission. You can add a user, delete a user, and that's easier. You don't have to worry about assigning permissions over and over again. You associate
Okay.
permissions
So I have a
at the group level,
correct.
and then for the user, you select the user and make him or her a member of the group. That the group has membership, and membership has permission. So in the user test, you will make that user a member of the EC2 group, and that will
Okay, but
trickle down.
anyway, okay, but I did not know this, so I gave permission to the user, but still they're just showing an authentication failure, so I don't understand
Let's
the
see.
reason.
Let's see your screen. So your screen, I'm going to control, and
Okay.
and
I got
let's
it. Okay.
pass that control to you. So I'm making
Uh-huh.
you a presenter. And yes, when you're dealing with like multiple companies, EC2, DigitalOcean, and Chef Server, and with connectivity problems, all these things. So let us go change your look at your Amazon interface and see what's going on there. So Amazon users, and let's check your permissions. So let's leave this guy alone for now. Go to groups, create a group. It is conceptually easier to digest it this way. Like all the people or companies or computers or anybody else who's going to control my Elastic Compute Cloud, I need to give them full access to the Elastic Compute Cloud. And that's the name of my group. So EC2 full access. search.
See, it shows one entity attached.
I think the other entity that was attached to that policy was the user directly getting that permission probably. But we had to check. We had to go check as to where you actually gave that permission. And so we will come back to that point where you are running into the problem. And so once this finishes, I would like you to add that user to the group.
Okay.
So take that user, add him to the group, and then come back to the terminal and hit it again. Wow, Singapore is slow. Is it Singapore slow or what? It's very taking a lot of time. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah, it
require
is
a
too
region. It's
slow.
Okay,
just,
if
yeah. Go to the user and just add that user to a group. So select this user when it comes. Wow. I remember
okay, one doubt.
I know, I remember when I
Very
used to
fresh.
live in India, we did not have internet.
Same here.
We got the user. We had just got.
We did not have internet. But in spite of all that, yeah, it's funny. And so add user to group.
In spite of all that, we were happy.
I know. Now we have internet and still not happy about it.
Actually, I know the time when there is no TV too. So
I know I did not have
So,
television until like 12th grade. I completely
right, right,
missed
right.
out TV. And that's why I
For,
don't watch TV even today.
for, for us, it was not 12th grade, 11th grade, right? And then we went to college.
Right,
So even
right. That's right.
no, it's like you give something to kid and you want to take it back, right? The kid is going to be crying, right? So same for us, right? With us, we did not have internet, but okay. Now since you have given the internet, you need to make sure it's effective and working fine, you know. So that's what our dissatisfaction is, you know.
Correct. So go back to the terminal and see what happens. Now it should work.
It isn't.
It doesn't? Oh,
No.
okay. That means you have to watch and carefully copy and paste the key that you have. Must be an error in the copying and pasting of the keys. So you have your credentials downloaded here, right?
Yeah, and I checked that, and that's why
Okay.
okay, the C percent at the end, is it the end character or something, or
No,
is it
percent
part
is
of
the
a key?
oh, that's the issue. Percent is the end character.
So I haven't included the percentage.
Okay. Now let us also do one more thing, which is go back to the user, create a new user, and get a fresh key. So call it the test user
Okay.
and create a key and get that key pasted into your knife RB. And so you show the credentials right here in this location. So show. And from here you just copy from the browser, paste in the knife RB and add this
Okay.
user to the
Uh-huh.
group and
Mm-hmm.
delete your other user.
So, okay. Sometime back you were saying that the key is a region specific, right? Matlab, if we need different keys for different regions, right? In
Not
Amazon?
not this key. The key that is different for region is the IDRSA key.
Okay.
This is the access key. It's account wide. It is tied to your credit card. It is not region specific.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
credit card, otherwise they'll ask you for a different credit card for every region. That's not the case.
Okay. Okay.
Why is it not expanding?
It expands only when you click on the show user security credentials,
Okay, so
not
expand
the
it, copy
arrow.
and take it and delete the other user, try this user, see if it works. I think it should work.
Okay.
Yeah. So take this copy and paste it over there in knife RB
Now,
and remember
meanwhile, I
to
created Nilesh.
Mhm.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Now, I created the instance in Amazon, and but then I tried to list. It should show the list, right? The instance is running.
I think so. Hey, you're
Okay,
typing
it's not
mistake.
sure.
You have a space at the end.
I found, I guess. This.
Yeah, you have to be very careful in what you're doing with this. Otherwise, it messes up. You have to grab the secret also, right? Which I guess you did.
No, I didn't change the key. I'm trying the old thing only. Nah. Okay, I'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, delete the old user, get a new user. Use the new one.
Okay.
So I'm running. So can you see my
I
see
will
me
back
screen?
control coming.
So this is the instance running in Amazon right now, right? This instance ID and all those. Okay. So now if I want to see my listing, right? It should list actually uh, uh, here, right? When I do that,
Yes, it will.
so you can see it's not listing anything. It's
Right.
same.
It is not
So
listing because
this is
your
what I
region is different. What is your region in the knife RB?
uh, so see, and so that is where my I don't yeah, you are right. Oh, okay, I got it. So Singapore, right? Okay. So if I make it in knife RB Singapore.
I think it's AP something 2, right? AP East,
This is this is
AP
where
Southeast 1,
can I
AP
get some?
Southeast 2 or 1.
Oh, this is okay. Here, okay, I got it.
No B.
Now,
There is no B there.
I,
Don't include the B part.
it would be nice somebody has given this parameter somewhere, some web services.
Yeah, yeah.
It end up doing issues like because of this only,
Correct.
because of the parameter values. Okay, so now, right, it is working now, right? So it's showing. Now I need to delete this instance, right? So to delete this
You can go
instance,
knife EC2 server delete.
That's it, and then give this number. Okay, so now to delete that, we don't need a. Okay, so this is so and paste it, and this is my instance name. Paste it.
And so you just deleted it. And so you can actually make use of these details, right? Go back, and that detail that you have in the terminal, you can
Uh-huh.
make use of this detail from here, T2 micro, machine ID, region, and the key name, right? All these details you can reuse and construct the server EC2 create command,
I got it. I got it. I got
right?
it.
So
Okay, so let
you
me
can
do that.
reuse some of the details available here, copy that over,
Correct. Correct.
take it to terminal, and create your create command.
I got it. So let me do that. So first of all, when I refresh it, it's seeing this instance here. So there is no instance running. Good. Now I go back here. Uh, now I need to do all these things.
Not really. What you need to go is go back to the terminal, copy that thing over
Okay.
the output
Yeah,
from
I'll
this command, and then construct something like this. Yes, 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 yes. You got it. You got it. And so change the AMI ID, change the key name, change the reference to the name -s option, and all that. You can just look up from there and write in here what do you want. So your AMI ID needs to be the one you have below.
key name is this one. Okay, let's
key,
start with this one.
yes, that's good. Your keyname.pem is IDRSA.
Oh, is it?
I
No,
think
so
so.
this one,
Maybe
right,
it
right,
is. Maybe it
right,
is.
right.
Maybe it is whatever you think it is. I have no idea.
No, no, no. I don't know how to find out whether that what will be the key. Let me put this one and see that, you know.
Yeah. So just
Okay.
type.
Go ahead.
Not
I'm
your.
done, right?
Yes. Yes. Keep going. Keep going. Change the
This
AMI.
one to, uh, but I cannot give instance now. Can I give instance name myself?
No.
So what is this one?
AMI. Amazon Machine Image.
Right. And this number last
You
verse.
kill that number and use
Okay.
96F1.
But that was my instance number, old instance number, right?
No. The old instance number was
Oh,
B189.
right, right. T2 micro. Okay. I think I'm done. I think
Yes, you're done.
we. So I copy this one.
Yes.
Go
Yes.
back here. I
Check
just
your
run this command.
check your IDRSA name.
Where to check that one?
It will be in the .ssh folder in your home. So press Control Shift N. Control Shift N.
You do something? Okay.
Open a new terminal, right?
Right.
So in the terminal, you
I'm,
go to CD Enter, and
what's happening? Okay, CD.
break it. Something is running.
Okay. See, okay, I'm in
Okay.
home
Now
right
go
now.
to CD.ssh and ls. That's where you will find the file name for your private key, and your file name happens to be ID_RSA.
So that means I need to change this to, right?
Correct.
ID_RSA.
No PEM.
Right.
Now you're good. And remember, when you're writing multi-line command like this one, it is an
Uh-huh.
important thing to look for. One key thing that you should remember to look for when you're typing and copying and pasting multi-line command like this.
Uh-huh.
And that thing to look for is go highlight the whole thing now. Highlight the one you want to actually copy. And so now you should see that the blue line, blue colors
Right.
should the lines that have something coming up followed by the trailing, there should not be no trailing space. That's the way to think of
I got it. I got it.
no trailing
So
space.
yeah, there is no, right. So that is, we are fine here, I believe.
Yeah, you can quickly see there is no trailing space here, which is good. If you have trailing
Right.
space, that's a problem. It will not work.
Correct.
And you don't type in this terminal window. Go back to that chef repo, paste it, and that will kick it on. Did you send your cookbooks and roles to the chef server?
No, I don't.
So you should send that first. So break it, Control C. Send your cookbook
Now,
to the chef server first. Otherwise, this will fail. So the
upload button.
way to send cookbook is in your cheat sheet. It is the cheat sheet for commands. It is actually knife. Yeah, that will do. So this will send your cookbook to the chef server, to your chef server.
And now I can see that listing now. Okay. Okay. 1 minute. Give me a second.
You should also send your role.
Role, right? Copybook.
The
You
role
said
command,
cookbook
sending
as
the role command is kind of different, and it is knife role from file. That's the syntax.
yeah. You have this mentioned not
In the
here.
cheat sheet. Yes, cheat sheet has it.
Cheat sheet has. Yes.
So just search for role upload or role from, and you will Control F search role from.
But did we role right now? I don't remember the role. Did we?
Just there is a starter role already. You have to send the starter role over.
Okay. I got it.
So the command would be knife role from file, and there is no base role, so you are pasting the base.
Yeah, I
role.
know. I realized that. I realized after pasting. Okay, so here instead of that, I need to use starter. It should do, I believe.
No, it will not. You have to remove the chef repo also.
Because already
You're already in there.
Right.
And remove the slash also.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it will go.
Okay, so now I can see that actually here in
Yes. Correct.
Here, if I go to the report notes, right? See, I don't know why this is. Can you see my screen suddenly become dim? I don't know why.
The screen becoming dim is an indication of connectivity problem between Chef server and your browser.
Okay.
The dim screen is only the Firefox window. Firefox shows you dim if it is not able to connect. And so I would suggest, I would suggest killing Firefox.
So let me kill this Firefox.
By right clicking here at the corner.
Yeah. No, it came back. Okay. Now, where can I see? I need to go to notes.
Policy.
To find out. Policy. Okay. So I think it's better to kill you. Because I don't use Firefox, I was not aware of. Wondering why it's happening very frequently. Okay, so you don't have
Force quit,
this
force
one.
quit. Quit it, quit it.
I did that. Yeah, I did that. No, no, you don't have a Chrome for Linux?
Yes, you do. It
Okay,
is
so
not
I'll
in
try that.
the, it is not pre-installed.
Okay, okay,
I can install it. It's very simple.
okay. So now I need to go to policy. But how did? Okay, so I have a role starter. Okay, that's it, right? Roles are there. And what did I copy? Cookbook I uploaded. Cookbook is okay. So starter cookbook, right? Yes. So everything is there now.
Yes.
Now I need to run this.
Not here. No,
Oh
not
yeah,
here,
yeah,
not here,
yeah.
not here. Break it, break it.
Yeah, yeah, broke.
Close it. Close this window.
Yeah, I will. I did that. It's running right now, I believe.
Yeah. And you can watch it. Watch the fun.
Okay. Kanu, are done with Kanu? You can go to Kanu now, I believe. So let it run.
Okay.
Setting to for AC to create the instance.
Oh, you're still stuck with the permissions issue? Oh my God.
It is taking so long.
But now it did. It worked.
Yeah, yeah, now finally,
So what
just
did you
now.
do?
Nothing, I created another user, everything. In fact, I logged out of Amazon, logged in again.
Huh. Finally it worked, at least for the first run. And now you have to construct your command.
Yeah. Yes.
So how are you doing, Nath?
Uh, this,
I'm
right?
watching you folks. I tend to, because my laptop is small, so I try to do
Hello?
it everything at one shot lately.
I know, I know. It becomes hard if your screen is small and especially I need two
Hello?
screens.
I
Yes.
cannot hear you.
Hi. Can you hear me? Hello. Kanu?
I can hear you.
Okay, good to know. So I think Kanu cannot hear me.
I can, no, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. So proceed, continue, construct that command which is kind of long and kind of multiple steps involved, but you need to basically grab all the things you would need from a usage perspective. So if you think about what we are doing in the knife EC2 server create command, or rather you're sending cookbooks. Okay, go ahead, send them, and also send your role, and then focus on knife EC2 server create command, which is a little bit involved, and it needs
Okay.
ingredients from multiple places. You have to go grab things from multiple places and put them all together in one command with no trailing spaces, multi-line. It doesn't have to be multi-line, but it is easier to read if it is multi-line. And then you put together multiple things and then you invoke it, and it should create a server. And not only that, we'll also install Chef and you know run the starter cookbook and everything. You will see that happening when it runs. So right now it is taking time to send the cookbooks over to Seattle. This Chef server actually is in Seattle.
Okay. Nice.
And so you just created your Chef server, sorry, cookbook. Now you have to say bundle exec knife roll from file. and then space,
From
uh,
file.
roles, and tab.
Tab.
Yeah, tab.
Okay.
Enter. And then you think about your command. Where do you get the things from? Like you have to get the things, the ingredients, gather all the ingredients and then apply it. And so you have to worry about all these elements, right? Your key name, file name, AMI, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my instance is created in the, I could see that now. It's,
Oh, nice. Very
I
good.
could see.
So you know what you should also see on the same screen is that it is installing Chef and that it is going to the Chef server and that installing your cookbook. It is waiting for SSHD to become available, meaning it is waiting for that connectivity. So it will take a few minutes for the machine to become ready, and when the machine becomes available and ready, it will connect to it, this machine, using your key that you have provided here. And then install Chef, meaning bootstrap sequence, prepare and cook sequence, and this will be the cooking recipe. And as soon as that SSHD becomes available, it will connect to this IP address, not this, but this public IP address. And you have to also worry about, what's going on is that your security groups are not allowing you to get in. That's why it is waiting. So go check your security group. And your default security group, I think, is applied. And so your default inbound routes are not open. That's why it is stuck. And so you go to your machine and make sure that your security groups are open. So your machine is here, and you have to look at the security group that that machine is using. And if you click on the machine, it will tell you which security group it is using. And so you will find that it is using the default security group. And so you go to the default security group here, and there you will find that it does not allow SSH access. So you have to allow SSH access when it is coming from your home. So all traffic SSH when it comes from your home, and then save, and that permission will allow this guy to get in.
Is it possible that while creating an instance, we choose a security group also?
Yes, indeed.
True, very good.
Yes, indeed. Totally possible. Yes, totally possible. And that is what you will see. This thing gets picked up. It will pick up as soon as the security group stabilizes and opens up a route. This should pick up SSH access momentarily.
So Nilesh, internal it's doing calling a Amazon Web Services to do all these things?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's go back to our machine and examine its security group, what it has. And you will find that that running instance has this listing here, which has the view rules button now, and the view rules should show you that SSH is open from your home. And so this should momentarily pick up and allow you to get in. And the key mismatch, this actually opened up, but your key mismatch, somewhere your key has mismatched. Let's read this. Let us read. So you have the key name, CB key, which is, what do you have here? Your key name was,
I
frozen
could
me.
see now
Yeah, I saw it somewhere. I
it was
just
there.
misplaced it.
Yeah, you can see that key pair
Yes,
name,
CV
CV
key, key
key.
pair name. Good. So this does not seem to match ID RSA. That is what is. So the match between this name and this file is broken. And that is why it did not authenticate. So this CV key and this ID RSA are probably different animals. Are they?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you
I
don't
thought
remember. I understand. And so that is what is going on, is that it waited for SSHD, and then it became
it became
available, so it
available.
says
Right.
done. And
Correct. Correct.
then it is trying to connect, failed to authenticate, trying using password.
What is password actually here in this case?
You don't have a password. They never gave you one.
Okay.
They never gave you
Correct.
one. You don't have a
Correct.
password. So you cannot go in. I mean, sorry, you have to break it.
Correct.
And so you
And then
cannot go in.
okay.
So the how do we solve it now? What we do
So we need
is,
to generate new.
no, 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 no,
Okay.
no, no need, no need. We'll simplify it. What we'll do is we'll cat take this public key
Okay.
and give it to Amazon.
Correct. Okay. Got it. No, no, I think okay. I can delete it. Give me a second. I'll
Yeah.
delete it. Okay.
And
I
the
mean, it's
instance
for
ID
me.
is actually mentioned right on the screen. The same screen had the instance ID. That's what I was typing it from.
Right. I would rather,
Okay.
it's I would rather believe in Windows.
Oh
But
my God.
I'm a lazy guy. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, let me delete here.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
terminate instance state terminate.
Go back here. Okay, I now I
Before you run,
but
don't, no, no, do not. You have to
okay.
go and clean your known host file.
No, but that thing without deleting also run this command as a second time it should create new instance, right? Why should we bother about it? I'm not able to connect to the sorry, uh, connect to the instance, but I can create a new instance, right? If I run this command, it would have created
It
a new
will
instance for
create a
me
new
altogether.
instance. It will absolutely create a new instance. And yes, it will get a new IP address. And yes, you will not have any trouble connecting to it. However, certain cloud providers, such as DigitalOcean, like you will do the similar exercises with DigitalOcean also. They have this tendency
Right.
to assign the same IP address to the same machine over and over again. And if that happens, you try to create a machine again the second time, it will fail because your known host file thinks it's a host key mismatch. So it's a
Now
good idea to
this
just clean
tell
up
me.
your known host file in general.
Correct. So
It will
now,
not be a problem with Amazon, but with other companies such as DigitalOcean, you will run into the same problem where you have, hey, that IP address doesn't seem to match. I don't know him. I don't know this. Host key mismatch, break.
so yes, so I got it. So I'm creating now. Okay. So see, what I'm trying to understand now, we cookbook, copybooks, sorry, cookbooks and the role to the chef. Okay. Now we are creating instance in Amazon. Since we already uploaded the copybook, cookbook and the role to chef server, chef in turn actually send it to this new instance, right?
Yes. So at this moment, as you will see, the machine gets created. Then your bundle exec knife EC2 command instruction with
Mm-hmm.
this dash R reference will basically indicate
Right.
that you need to install Chef. And so it will bootstrap the machine. And that machine, this machine will be installed with Chef as version defined in your bundle exec in your gem file.
Okay.
So whatever you have in your gem file, that version of Chef will get installed here on this machine right there.
I
After
got
that, after that you will find that this recipe defined here, it will know that you are supposed to be going to connect to the Chef server because you are now
right.
running in this Chef repo, which has a
Right.
knife RB file, which says that there is a reference to the Chef server. So it knows to go to the Chef server to grab cookbook.
Correct.
And
Correct.
when it grabs cookbook, you will see it running the cookbook, and you will see that happening. And so it is connecting to that machine, and it no address associated with host name. It's a network error. Okay, it's a network error. Oh man.
Oh my. So again,
And so yeah, you just
this
hit
is
it.
not.
Yeah, hit it one more time and just do it again. Kill this, do it again. Hope you're doing with T2 micro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should be okay.
This time, the okay. We change the security group. Okay. So connect. Okay. Instance. This is a challenge for with the in a sense. I mean, I'm not for India, right? It happens everywhere, right? This
Yeah, it can happen
network.
anywhere, and creation actually, the scenario we are running right now is a creation scenario, and this is just one method of creating
Correct.
machines on the command line. The dominant usage of Chef is that you actually leave it running every 30
Correct.
minutes on these machines out here, right? They will all run Chef, each one of them, and they will periodically run themselves. So you don't have to worry about this connectivity problem because
Correct. Correct.
the
Correct.
the connectivity issue is typically in the last mile, like last mile as in your home and your internet company. That is where the problem
Correct.
is. Between Amazon and Chef server, there probably is not going to be a trouble too much. You know why? Because the Chef server is actually sitting in Seattle in the Amazon cloud.
Right.
And
Right.
so
And so once we create instant all those, it just basically sending the updated file to Chef, and Chef takes care of sending it to that instance, I believe, right?
actually Chef server doesn't do anything. Chef server will do nothing, it will just sit unless somebody asks for it. So some client
No, but what is the point is sending the cookbooks to Chef server?
centrally available to everybody.
Okay.
And so anytime a machine wants to run Chef, it will get the latest cookbooks from the Chef server and then run it.
But otherwise, it's actually taking it from local machine and sending it to instance. That's what you're saying, right?
In solo mode, you send it from local machine directly to the target machine, whereas in the case where you're using Chef server, cookbooks are delivered from Chef server. on demand. When the machine, there we go. So now you see installing Chef and downloading Chef version 12, installing Chef client, and you will find that it installed this version of Chef, and it will proceed with this next step, which is to go to the Chef server and download your starter cookbook, and then run that starter cookbook right here on this machine. You will see it happening. It is now working, as opposed to the previous time when we had connectivity issues.
Correct. So if I open a new this one, I can find it actually installed server and all those in the machine instance, right?
So it is a T2 micro machine, right?
Right.
What you will find is that once when you say you are going to open what? What are you going to open?
No, 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 no. So for example, we went to go SSH command and find out, right? We can do that. Find
Oh
out
yes,
with the
yes, yes,
self.
yes. You can SSH to this 52, 74, 218, 68 and find out totally. So you can SSH directly to this address.
So
You have to be SSH Ubuntu at, not root at, but Ubuntu at.
Ubuntu.
There it is at the back end. You can see that it is running Chef now, and you can see an entry came along from the starter. It ran the starter recipe. You see at the
Right.
back side it is telling you that, and it finished.
Yes.
And so that is the expectation that we had. Welcome to Chef, and then your name. It's a fictitious name, and that's
Right.
the log entry that it put. The starter cookbook put that, and the details of that are available here. And you can take this IP address and copy it over and say SSH Ubuntu at IP address and connect.
And find out the version, right?
And you can say Chef and you can just run Chef client without the -v option. And when you run it without the -v option, see what happens. It will actually go back to the Chef server, grab a new collection of cookbooks, and run it again. It could not load the private key, huh? Attempting to create this client failed. Failed to read the private key. I think let me diagnose this error. It's a different error, but from what we see on this machine, we have our Chef installed and the starter role, which is a very basic bare minimum role that we have defined, and that role itself does nothing except say hello Sam Doe, and that's what you will find in your default recipe. Is that's what it does, and that's what it did in here. So where is that recipe default in the starter? the the function of this cookbook is to say hello. It's like the hello world cookbook. All it does is says hello, and so you can find that here. It says welcome to chef, and that's all it does effectively. And so that's what we saw when we ran it through the knife command. And so the variation to that you can do is basically now in this example we can play out this other scenario, which is your Atom editor, and go in your file to create a Burks file and list out a couple of
Define the
cookbooks that you want, and then you send those cookbooks over to Chef server, and that's a possibility. So in here you can create a new file, Control N, and then create a Burks file, and in that Burks file you list out all the things that you need to get from the supermarket, and then that will be list of cookbooks you will want to get from the supermarket that you will add in this Burks file, and then do a Burks install. When do a Burks install, it will grab the cookbooks that you need and put that in your cookbooks folder. Right now you have the starter cookbook there. You can delete that one because it's kind of a very primitive cookbook that you have obtained. So you can delete this cookbook here, starter, and then add a Burks file alongside this gem file, and then run Burks install, and that will also bring down all the things you need for you to collect all the cookbooks from supermarket, and then you have to send them to the Chef server. So you will notice that Chef server can also go to the supermarket and get the cookbooks by itself, but it doesn't. Chef server doesn't have a mind of its own. It depends on you to provide the cookbooks that you want to use. It doesn't randomly generate and identify cookbooks that it wants and brings them down. You have to specify what cookbooks I want. You have to write them down in a Burks file. You have to run the Burks command to collect them and then send them to Chef server. And when you send is what Chef server will receive. And what Chef server has is what the machines will receive, because the machines will ask for it. When Chef runs every time, it will go to the Chef server and ask for cookbooks and run them. And so Chef server doesn't bring its own mind. You give whatever you want it to give. You decide whether you want to get the cookbook from the community or supermarket or write your own or whatever. And you define what cookbooks go to the Chef server, which is your Chef server. And through that, your own Chef server, you decide what your machines will actually do. And these machines will run Chef and grab the cookbooks that you dictate. And that is what we'll be doing in an upcoming exercise where we will use a slightly different method of managing cookbooks. It's just a different method. There is, very similar though. So it's like Burks file. We had this Burks command. Like there is going to be a Chef file and a librarian command. So very similar, except different names, different technologies, different companies, actually different groups of people, not companies, that created a very similar structure, like Burks shelf, like librarian, and the name is librarian Chef. And this does, what it does is it will bring down all the cookbooks you need. I think you need to fix it. And so
yeah. I don't know why it actually.
I think it is noise, internet noise somewhere. And so here there are two competing technologies. One of them is the librarian Chef, which will do basically similar steps that Burks Chef did. It will go to the supermarket, grab the cookbooks, put them in the right location. That's what this thing does. That's what Buckchef does. Two different techniques. Some companies use this, other companies use the other one, and it's your choice. So we'll do both, and very similar actually, not much different. But I actually like Buckchef, so I use that one first. But we'll switch to this one next time. It's almost very similar, and both are open source. Just two different ways of doing the same thing. It helps you create a list of things you need, and then it will go to the supermarket, get the things you want, and put them in the cookbooks folder. That's all it does. So you can actually use that next time when we'll be there is probably an exercise about using this also, and we'll expand the scope of that exercise eventually to build out all the things we need. So we will have a MySQL recipe, a PHP recipe, an Apache recipe, and put that all together on a machine somewhere in DigitalOcean or HP or some cloud, and create a LAMP stack. And then the next step sequence of that would be to install some application there, such as Drupal, Joomla, Facebook. Maybe we cannot do Facebook, but we can do Wikipedia. Wikipedia is open source. We can put that application there on top, or we can expand and put WordPress there if you like, or even go to the extent of automatically installing WordPress also right there. And so at the end of it, when we run this command, it should have not only create the machine and install Chef and run Chef and go to Chef server and grab the cookbooks and run the cookbooks for Apache, run the cookbooks for PHP and MySQL, grab the data bag, grab the user secrets, grab the root passwords, create a user account, grab the key, install the user, install the sysadmin user, put permissions in place, put all the things that you need in order to construct a complete LAMP stack in the appropriate locations, and all of that is automatable. And then we have a LAMP stack ready, and then we'll grab WordPress automatically and put that in there, and then at the end we'll have a WordPress site up and running with one command. It will do the whole thing. It's a fairly long step sequence, but finishes in like 5 minutes. And you can create a new complete application deployment. At the end of it, you will have a fully functional WordPress with one key press. You type the whole thing. It's fairly complex, and you have the exercises written down in the write up there somewhere. And you just at the final stage, that's what you will see is that you run that command, and you will see everything happening, building from scratch. Go to the machine provider, Amazon or whatever, and create a machine. Uh, in certain cases, we can even create this machine inside a VPC, which means we need to have a NAT box for the internal machines to connect outside and connect to the Chef server. And we'll also have the thing created on the backside and put a front end load balancer. And so we can go to the extreme detail as to what exactly we want. And there are exercises for each one of these things that I just mentioned. You can find them, and we'll be doing them pretty soon in the next few days.
Okay.
And so I think you guys are doing very well. I have had no issues in terms of you know people not reading carefully and diligently and doing along. So that's a typical scenario I run into, and I have not run into this. That is awesome. And so that tells me a great deal about the diligence that you are putting together in making things, actually making sure to read and follow along. I think you're doing a fabulous job, and I appreciate that. Thank you. In most cases, I typically run into a scenario where people are not able to complete these steps. In fact, you will look at where is our site here. So in this site,
You're looking for
the
Cloud
write-ups.
Genius.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Here.
So here after the cheat sheet, there is this fairly elaborate long exercise, which is this one. And that is actually fairly long. But before we get to that, I want you to expand the scenario we did today and delete the starter cookbook and put, say, Nginx cookbook and run it through the chef server infrastructure on your own. And what you need to be able to do is pretty similar to what we did before in the solo mode, where we had some cookbooks we collected and then use those cookbooks to deploy. We'll do similar things, but I would like you to do it this time with chef server in place, now that you have a chef server infrastructure ready for you. And in the subsequent steps we'll do is this right up here, which is to deploy LAMP stack in the cloud using chef and chef server. And that is one of the, I think, the most detailed and involved exercise that you will probably do. And there are so many steps that it will be probably bog you down, honestly. And yes, we'll create custom cookbooks and all that, and I'll walk you through. I'm not scaring you, but I'm just telling you that this is coming. And so you will do, it's fairly doable, but this is probably the most intense exercise at this end. And we'll keep going. Then we'll actually automate deployment of that thing using, we'll deploy WordPress using automation. So that is also written down here. And we'll also create our own chef server, and that is in the last step. And we'll digress depending on what you think is more interesting to you versus what I have written down. So we can digress as needed. And I think my ask for you is to use chef server from today and incorporate some other cookbooks other than the starter, the one that you already have here, the starter cookbook. And I would like you to delete the starter cookbook and put your own Apache, Nginx, MySQL, whatever you feel like, and play it out. See how it actually works out using Chef Server in a cloud scenario, like you just did with Amazon. So play that same scenario, except change the cookbooks and send them over to Chef Server and see how things work out. Right? So it's a homework exercise.
Sure.
And you know,
Right.
if you get stuck, ping me and
Yep.
we'll do it again. Right?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Yes, go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead.
It's still waiting for SSHD access.
Okay, then that's a firewall issue and security group issue. So we should look at that part. So go to SSH. This is a sign that your security groups are closed. So your security groups are not selected, huh? Here. So go click here on the running instance in the browser. Running instance,
Yeah.
security group, view rules, security group view rules. See what the rules are, and they are all, and the source is not your home. The source is inside Amazon. You want to change the default
Oh,
security group and allow you to go in. If you cannot go in, nobody can.
okay.
And so that security group is opening up. You have to click on the default and then modify its inbound permissions to allow you to access from your location. So not all traffic, but make it SSH, and not from a custom IP which is inside Amazon, but
My
your IP,
my
and then save. And
okay.
this is your IP and it is saved.
So do I need to hit the command again, or it'll automatically take the update?
I think it will pick it up. If it is not too late, it will pick it up. If it is timed out, then it is timed out. But let's see.
Okay.
So do you know how many minutes or or tens of minutes has it been waiting for? Okay, it connected. Connected.
Okay.
Okay, your
What will the
key.
password be?
No, there is no password. You have a key problem. Your key name is Bastian key, and it doesn't seem to match with what you think your key is.
Okay.
So your keys need correction,
So,
and the key correction.
no, so what we pass in the key name is the key pair that they'll find on Amazon. And the next line we pass the same private key, right?
So this key name here has to match what Amazon thinks the name is. This key name has to match your ID RSA.
Why IDRS? It could be any key pair, right?
Yeah, any is possible, but you need to know what it is and it needs to match.
So I had a key pair in this region, and
So show it to me.
wait a second. Here it is in downloads, right?
No, it has to be
You can see the
in
screen.
your Linux. Yeah, correct.
In Linux.
So how many keys
And
you have? The third key, Bastion key, credentials.
those were in different regions. The credentials were the that
Correct.
for the
Correct.
user,
Correct.
and those were in different regions. So in this region it was this, and I'll show you in the Amazon as well now. Where has my Amazon gone? Here.
Hmm. Okay. Now, do you know the Bastion key that you have here? Where is the corresponding private key?
The one I showed you in downloads over here.
And where is the command that you are running?
Wait a second, I'll scroll up. Here.
And okay. Now, the thing you need to worry about when you're dealing with keys downloaded from Amazon
Mhm.
is that you need to have
The
chmod
mode or something?
400.
Uh,
And so this
okay.
permission of this file is to open. And so it was
Okay.
not taken into account because the permissions were too open. It should be limited to only you. And you can do that
Okay.
control by going into the properties section and limiting it to just you. Whereas right now I suspect that the permissions are too open. Read
Read and
write,
write. It
none,
has to be.
none. So it is not. So you're correct. And that permission is also correct. So the group should be none and other should be none. That is good. And so that is not the issue. Let us find out where the issue can be. If that is not the issue, then where is the issue? Okay. Let us hold on. So this
Oh,
go ahead.
nothing. Nothing actually.
Okay. So let's try to diagnose as to what is going on, because we can totally get that. With some other browser, right? This is not the browser.
Yeah, you came out of the workstation. That's what I was telling.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And so what I would suggest is that you try importing your key pair and see if the fingerprint matches. But do you have the public key corresponding to it?
No, we'll have to generate.
Let it generate, right? So let us generate the public key and pass it. Do you remember how to generate a public key from private?
I forgot the command. I found it out
Yeah,
written
yeah,
it
it is there
somewhere.
somewhere written down. You don't have to remember. It's there. It's there written down somewhere.
No, I had written it in my notes as well.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah. So I am typing the command in Slack chat. You can find it. And that's what it is, to generate the public out of private. You will find it in Slack chat. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So go to Slack and then modify the in. You have to provide the complete path to Bastion key. You have to provide the path, which is going to be /home/user/download. Is your path correct in the command? It is not
Sorry?
home downloads, it is home user downloads. Check your path in the
Oh,
command.
it is home downloads.
Okay, then that's the problem.
Okay.
You know how to override, how to overcome that problem? Do you know? How do you avoid that problem
No.
from happening to begin with? There is a simple trick that I
Uh,
use. I'll tell you what that trick is. How do you avoid these kind of typing problems in terms of path? And that is the question we are trying to find. So let's say I'm typing this command ssh-i, and I know that the path is somewhere in the downloads folder, but I don't know where it is. So I'll go to my
the
home.
tab thing?
Yes, the tab thing, slash, then capital D and tab, and then capital D and tab. It will bring me the desktop document download. So I'll press O tab, and it will bring me downloads and documents. Then I'll type W tab,
Hmm.
and it will bring me downloads. And then I have the file. That's where it is, right? So let's see, type B tab,
Okay.
and then I have it. Okay, I got it. That's how I do it. And this way you are not
Okay.
able to make a mistake because you're not even typing these things. And
Okay.
the
Okay.
tab completion will not work if the file doesn't exist.
So you'll automatically know you're making an error
Correct. So you
if the
can
file isn't there.
absolutely be sure that the file exists when the tab completion works.
Okay.
And so that was the issue, is that your path was incorrect.
Okay. I'll redo it.
Yeah, you have to break it and do it again.
Yeah. Okay. When we change the command into multiple lines, we cannot go back and edit the command in the lines above, right?
You can.
Because I was trying to go up to edit it when I pasted the entire thing and I wasn't able to.
So it should convert into something like this at the end. It should convert into a single line command that looks like Hold on, I think my mouse is behaving again. And so
You're
it should
Anupriya, you're
convert into a
saying
single line command automatically.
Anupriya, you're saying in the command line, you're saying that you need to go till top,
Yeah.
then it will yeah, you need to go till top. So
All
go
the
to
way to
command line
bundle.
as you can see that.
All the way up to
Yes,
bundle. Yeah, then it will work.
right.
I didn't get.
So go to the command line,
I'll go
command
or
prompt.
okay, I'm going here.
You
Now
go
suppose
up, so suppose if you paste this, right, and now go top, upper to yeah, so
So
I'm not
multi-line,
able to go any.
yeah, multi-line, you cannot edit like this. You have to go, yeah, you have to go with a back arrow.
arrow, yeah.
You have to go with a back arrow, which is not really interesting.
Oh, you are saying to reach to a particular line and edit it, you're talking about?
Yeah, you cannot
Yeah.
edit. Not easy. It's not good. Not good. I don't like it.
Okay, that's
Yep. So in your case, I would suggest one slight change. What I will do is the last line you have the dash R recipe. Did you just hit it?
yes.
Okay,
I'll
no
break
worries.
it.
No worries. The change I was suggesting is that instead of the recipe starter, I would like you
Hmm.
to say role starter, and you will
Okay.
see that the output is a little bit different in that it will actually use your name. It will say welcome to Chef Kanupriya as opposed to welcome to Chef Sam Doe. And that is because the role definition includes a reference to your name based on the account name you chose with Chef Server. And that's what you would have seen, but it's too late. You can do it again.
Okay. Next time it.
Yep. And so you will see the whole thing completing right now, and you should not have a problem
Hmm.
unless there is a network issue. In which case, I cannot do anything. Nobody can.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Yeah, okay. Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
I guess this will complete now.
Yeah, I think so. I think it will complete. No worries.